Hello, welcome to White Davy Gardening and Worm Farm. If you like my channel, please press the subscribe button. So 4 days ago, I did a video showing that my worms were escaping my bin, and since then I have been trying to figure out why they are leaving the bin. So I'm gradually going through my bins, and I made a few discovery. For one, a lot of you know that I have been out of town for a little while, so for that week my worms did not get any attention. I thought I had everything set for them so that they would be okay, but then when I came back, what I noticed is that the last time I went through these bins and moistened them down, there were a few bins that were fairly moist, and so I did not add any more moisture to them. So because they did not get any moisture the week before I leave, the water that was in the bin was not enough to carry them over for the entire period of time that I was not here. So some of those bins dried out, so that is one reason why some of the worms were escaping. Now, as I was going through the bin, I also noticed, as many of you know, when I was raising my worms last year, they were fed finished compost, and so it has become the norm where I don't have to feed them. Sometimes, depending on how many worms I have in the bin, I can have the bin for 3 to 6 months without having to feed it. So I would just aerate the bin and add moisture to it, and that's all I'd have to do. So I'm so accustomed to that when I was leaving for my little vacation, some of the bins that had a little compost in them didn't really have a lot. They were practically close to being ready for harvesting. So what I should have done, since as I stopped feeding just finished compost to the bin, I should have added more food scraps than the little that I added to it. So some of my worms actually ran out of food because what little compost was left in the bin, or what little food scraps I gave them, was not enough to keep them going for the period of time that I was gone. So some of my worms crawled out of the bin because there wasn't enough moisture, and then others left the bin because there wasn't sufficient food in there for the amount of worms that was in the bin. So that is the reason why my worms escape. And then some of the bins were so pretty close to harvesting, and worms cannot live in their own droppings for long. So once the bin becomes ready for harvesting, it is important to take them out of their own castings and restart the bin. So because of my injury, I wasn't able to harvest the castings on time. So that is another reason. It becomes toxic to the worms if they're in their own castings for too long. So that is the third reason why so many of my worms were actually escaping from the bin. For example, this bin is ready for harvesting. Just have a few pieces of shredded paper in there, and that's it. There's no food source in here. So there is, apart from that few little bit of paper that is in here, the worms really pretty much didn't have anything to eat. So that is why they were escaping the bin. So don't make the same mistake as I did. It can be pretty costly, and the poor worms have to suffer for our mistakes. So don't make the same mistake as I did. So now I am going to be sifting out some castings. I started doing that since Tuesday of last week, so I have quite a bit more to go. I still haven't completed half of my trays yet, and pretty much all my trays are ready for harvesting. So anyway, if you enjoy this video and you would like to see more, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, a time for grow.